Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Wavy, and today we will be talking about the Backbreaker football game. I'm sure you know this because you clicked on the title of this video. Backbreaker is an American football game initially released on June 1st, 2010 in North America and June 25th, 2010 in Europe. It is developed by Natural Motion and it uses the Euphoria game engine, what makes everything more physics based instead of a game like Madden where everything is animation based and you get sucked into animations and it's terrible. But I digress. I originally played the Xbox 360 version, and from what I remember, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. And I also played the sequel, Backbreaker Vengeance. So I just wanted to get that out the way. One last thing I wanted to point out, I will be using the PS3 version of this game via the RPCS3 emulator. This is why at certain points you see the frame drops and why you might see that there's no crowd, nobody in the stadium. So yeah. Now that we got all of that out the way, I would like to firstly talk about what makes this game different. So, of course, we will be talking about the physics. So, the biggest selling point for this game was the physics. The physics, as I mentioned before, was made from the Euphoria engine. This allows for every tackle to be different. Other video games also use this engine, such as GTA 4, GTA 5, Max Payne 3, Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, and the Star Wars Unleashed games. So you might be thinking, okay, that looks cool, but how does it play? And that is what we will be talking about next during the gameplay. While I will say this game is very fun, it takes a lot of getting used to. One main difference from this game from a mainstream football game is that you cannot see all your receivers at once and that you have to navigate from receiver to receiver like a quarterback would in real life. This, coupled with the fact that the camera is very close to the football players, may turn a lot of people off and make the game a lot harder for newcomers. I don't know about y'all, but throwing the football was almost never a viable option for me. It almost always ended in an interception or a overthrown pass. So I usually stuck to running the ball, and usually that worked well. Another thing that is very different with this game from other football games is the control scheme. A lot of the controls are played with the right analog stick, and the right analog stick is broken down from the standard and the aggressive motions. This breaks it down from the analog stick, maybe doing a juke move to doing a stiff arm. But if you think that this control scheme is not for you, you could opt to play with the face buttons. While I do think running the football on here is very fun and very fluid, I think that my only gripe about it would have to be the fact that sometimes it feels like your character just falls on the lightest of touches, and then sometimes it feels like he's very weighted. One positive I will give about this game is that you never find yourself being sucked into a tackling animation, and you never find the opposite team just catching the most amount of speed out of nowhere and tackling you. Everything is very natural in that aspect. And on the opposite side of the football, it is also very fun. It is also very fluid. You feel like every time you got an interception, it was because you was right there for the football to land in your hands. Every time you tackle somebody, it felt very fluid. They felt very naturally. One last thing I could probably say about the regular football in this game is that you can play as literally everybody on the field. So if you wanted to play as the center and block the whole game, that is possible on here. Since this isn't an NFL licensed football game, none of the official NFL teams are on here, but they make up for it by having one of the most in-depth creation suites I have ever seen in a football game. It is way better than it should be. I love the creation suite on this game so much that I was addicted to making teams at a point in time. This particular team right here was supposed to be the Colorado Pirates, but for some reason, I just couldn't use them. I had to change them. It was something about Chris Hansen. I don't know. But they did find a home in Georgia. One thing about the team creation on here, though, is that you cannot change any one particular player besides the skin tone, number, and name. You only can change it about offensive and defensive specialty along with team bias. The offensive specialties are balance, pass heavy, and rush heavy. The defensive specialties are balance, blitzing, and coverage. Your team bias can be speed, agility, focus, or strength. And all this does is dictate how your team plays. And that will be the creation suite. The last things I didn't cover is that you can choose a team name, location, and a field. One last cool thing about the creation suite is that every team on this game is also created by the creation suite. So you could change the logo for every team, change the colors for every team, and see how they created the logo. Now that we got the creation suite out the way, we can talk about the game modes. Backbreaker has a few game modes to it. They have a training camp, which just teaches you how to play the game, a standard exhibition mode. They have 2 league modes on here, them being the season, which just is a custom league, allows you to play between 8 teams, 16 teams, and 32 teams. And the cool thing about the season mode, at least if you're anything like me, when you create your custom league, you can use all of your custom teams in it. Then they have a Road to Backbreaker mode, where it's just picking one team and trying to beat all the other teams. They have a Tackle Alley mode. We'll talk more about that in a minute. They have an online mode, and then the creation suite we was talking about earlier. The biggest mode on this game is Tackle Alley, which actually is how Backbreaker even started. It started as an iOS game, and Tackle Alley was the only game mode. And eventually, when Backbreaker 2 Vengeance, that was the only game mode too. Except now you can play as the person tackling or the person trying to not to get tackled. This mode is pretty fun for many reasons. A lot of it is just open field. You just gotta avoid the guy. This becomes even more fun on later levels when there become a lot more people trying to tackle you, and it creates a lot of interesting moments. I said in the beginning of the video that I did thoroughly enjoy this game when I first played it, and I have to say, now that I played it again, I still thoroughly enjoyed it, probably even a little bit more now. I think I appreciated it a little bit more now just because I've been played like 100 Madness by this point, and a lot of them have been playing the same. It's just something different, a brand new coat of paint, brand new coat of everything actually. But is it still worth playing? I would say yes if you own an Xbox 360 or a PS3 and have this game downloaded. I would say you should probably give it a shot right now. Or if your computer is powerful enough to run a PS3 emulator, I would recommend playing it. But I would not recommend buying it because right at this moment it's between $60 and $90 for a physical copy of this game. It's just a shame that this game didn't sell very well and wasn't received very well, or else he might have would have had another Backbreaker game with a more fleshed out exhibition mode instead of just another Tackle Alley game. Or maybe I'm off. Maybe you feel like the exhibition mode just was not very good and we don't need another version of it. Maybe you like the Tackle Alley mode. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you feel like we don't even need another Backbreaker game. Let me know in the comment section. But that will be the end of talking about Backbreaker for a long period of time. Hey now, this is the segment I do after all of my videos. I'ma call it In Sleep. Clearly inspired by Yuri Win. What are we gonna talk about? Yes, I would like to say please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, comment something. It's greatly appreciated. If you didn't my fault, y'all. I'm not editing this part. If you didn't like the video, hit the dislike button also. I don't think they really do anything. Let's see. Want to say shout out to Cameron. He really inspired me to do the YouTube thing. So want to say that. I do a podcast on Mondays. No, I record the podcast on Mondays. I drop podcasts every week. They drop on Tuesdays usually. Then I usually stream Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I do that a lot. Stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/wavebaby. If you made it this far, I just want to appreciate you. I'm really grateful for that. And hopefully this YouTube thing works out and we'll just continue going from there. But you have been ended. Yeah.